Hi there, my name's Andrew Dunn. I'm co-host of the Media Lunch Break podcast. This week on the podcast, we're talking about a movie called Masked and Anonymous, which was written by and stars Bob Dylan. I thought it'd be a nice companion video to talk a little bit about my favorite Bob Dylan lyrics. In this video, we're covering numbers 61 through 42. All right, let's do it. Number 61. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? This one's from Blowin' in the Wind, one of Bob Dylan's most famous songs, and yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. Like, how many people do you know who have, like, stared in the face of something and still not seen it or not understand it? Or, like, you feel like you've explained something to someone over and over and over again and they never get it. And it's like, how many times do I have to say this before you fucking understand what I'm saying? Number 60. I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. This is from the song My Back Pages, and the song itself is pretty good, but I love this line. It's such a good line, and it's the line that repeats throughout the song. I've just always kind of felt like this. Anyone who's ever felt like an old soul, it does sort of feel like you age down. You're sort of Benjamin Buttoning yourself. Like, I don't know, I was raised to be very mature, even in like high school. People who would come into my high school would often ask me what I taught. And yeah, as I got older, like I started learning how to let loose and party a little bit, you know? I felt like I was so much older then, but I'm younger than that now. Number 59. I ain't saying you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kind of wasted my precious time. I love this line. This is from Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, and it is another one of his lines that sort of contradicts itself. In the beginning of it, he's saying, I'm not saying you treated me unkind. And at the end, he's saying, you just wasted my precious time. It's another good breakup song. It's another kind of sad song, but I like this one a lot. It's easygoing. It's easy to listen to. It's heartbreaking if you actually pay attention to the lyrics, but it's a good time. Number 58. The vagabond who's rapping at your door is standing in the clothes that you once wore. This is another one from It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, one of my absolute favorite songs. This is clearly a line about change, about adaptation, maturing, evolution. It's either about becoming a vagabond or going from being a vagabond to being something else. The vagabond who's knocking at your door is wearing clothes that you once wore, which leads me to believe that it is either the vagabond you used to be because he's wearing the clothes you used to wear, or it's a version of you that lost everything and so all you have to wear is clothes you used to wear. Or maybe it's like a guy who just like went to the thrift store and bought your hand-me-downs. I don't know. Maybe you left your wallet in it, or, you know, I don't know, a letter that has your address, and he went to the address to be like, hey, this looks important. Could be that, if it's literal. Number 57. I decided to flip a coin like either heads or tails to let me know if I should go back to ship or back to jail. So I hawked my sailor suit, I got a coin to flip, it came up tails, it rhymed with sails, so I made it back to the ship. This is from Bob Dylan's 115th Dream, again, maybe my favorite song. It's about Bob Dylan discovering America as it is now, and he goes through all these like horrible things that American citizens have to go through on a semi-regular basis. And the plot is that the other sailors that have come with him have been thrown in jail. And so he's flipping a coin. Do I leave or do I keep trying to get my friends out of jail? And when he flips the coin to make the decision, it comes up tails. It rhymes with sails. Sails like on a ship. So he gets back in his boat and he sails away. But it also rhymes with jail. So it seems like he's just doing whatever he wants anyway. This might have been the first Bob Dylan song I ever heard. And I remember thinking that. I was in the 5th grade. And I remember thinking like, wait a minute. Number 56. I'll tell you something. Things you've never had, you'll never miss. This is another one from Gonna Change My Way of Thinking. It's a good song, man. It's got some really good short lyrics that are great. And this is one of them. This is a line that is very similar to one we're going to get into in the top 10. But yeah, it's true. It's another optimistic and also cynical lyric. It's about finding the silver lining, I think. Like, yeah, maybe you don't have a lot of things, but if you don't have a lot of things, you'll never miss them. And I think that's something as well that goes to be said about like a character like Scrooge from A Christmas Carol. And not just him, but miserly, greedy, rich characters in general from literary history. Like, the more things you have, the more things you're going to be sad if they go away. So you get paranoid. You get like, everybody's trying to take my stuff. And in my experience, the richer you are, the more you are like that. Anyway, moving on. Number 55. And though the rules of the road have been lodged, it's only people's games that you got to dodge. This is our first lyric from the song It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, which personally I think has the highest quantity of really good lyrics, like sort of self-standing lines that are incredible. You're going to be seeing a lot more lyrics from this song as we go forward. But this line in particular is pretty poignant. Like, there are rules to life. We were talking about how, like, life is a highway. The highway is for gamblers, right? The fast lane. And though the rules of the road are known, they're lodged, we know what the rules of life are. Really, the only thing you have to do is dodge other people's games. It's pretty good advice. Number 54. I don't know if I saw you, if I would kiss you or kill you. It probably wouldn't matter to you anyhow. This is another line from Standing in the Doorway. I think Bob Dylan's saddest song? Probably really sad. It's just a sad song. And this line is no exception. Like, I don't know if I saw you what I would do, because I love you, but I also fucking hate you. So I don't know if I'm gonna kiss you or murder you and leave your body in a ditch. It's a little harsh, if you ask me. And the hardest part of the line, though, is that he doesn't even know if she would give a shit about it. Like, whichever one he picks, he's so inconsequential to her that she's not even gonna care. It's brutal. Number 53. You raise up your head and you ask, is this where it is? Somebody points to you and says, it's his. And you say, what's mine? And somebody else says, well, what is? And you say, oh my God, am I here all alone? This is another one from Ballad of a Thin Man that definitely has some inspirations from drugs. I'm just going to say it. It's from drugs. Bob Dylan did a lot of drugs. Maybe he still does. I don't know. But this is another lyric where he is sort of flipping what he's doing on its side. You think you know what's happening. It's a conversation between two people, but in the end, it ends up being a conversation in one man's head. What's interesting, too, is that when he has the thought, am I here all alone? He still says it. You say, oh my God, am I here all alone? Even as he starts to believe that he's by himself, he's still asking the question out loud. Number 52. They're selling postcards of the hanging. This is the first line of Desolation Row. I mean, man, if you don't want to hear more after the first line of the song, I can't help you. Desolation Row is an interesting song because it's super long. It's like 10 minutes long or something like that. If I remember correctly, it was an entire side on the album it was released on. I used to be able to put it on when I would leave my dorm, and it would still be playing by the time I made it to class. And I say that just to point out that the events that occur are a domino effect started by the first line of this song. They're selling postcards of the hanging, which I always thought was incredibly brutal. And this, much like what I said about the song The Hurricane, I remember thinking to myself, man, that's so insane. Good thing that would never happen. Fucking America is insane. Because they actually did do that shortly after the Civil War, and probably before and possibly during. I'm not a historian, but they would sell postcards. As they hung slaves, they would take pictures. There would be a whole event with like families with kids and shit. They'd take a picture and then they would sell these pictures as postcards to people who were at the event. This was like 150 years ago. God damn. Number 51. I once loved a woman, a child, I'm told. I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. That's a nice little just fun rhyme. I kind of like that. It's from Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. And this is another one that I personally can relate to, and I feel like a lot of people can. I once loved a woman, a child, I'm told. It's a woman. I loved a woman, but a lot of people said that she was very immature, and I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. That's another thing that Dylan does very well. He has a strong distinction between heart and soul. A lot of time, just the phrase heart and soul, we mix the two of them together. I put my heart and soul into it. You know, I give you my heart, I'll give you my soul. To him, they're two different things. I gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. I don't know, it sounds like a demon to me. Number 50. All these people that you mention, yes, I know them. They're quite lame. I had to rearrange their faces and give them all another name. This is from the last verse of Desolation Row, and it totally changes everything you thought you understood about the song. Throughout the song, the singer's listing a lot of iconic characters. Einstein disguised as Robin Hood, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Cinderella. Characters or people that you've probably heard of. And what you find out at the end is that this was all a letter, and he had to give them all another name so that the person reading the letter wouldn't know who he's talking about. They're all real people. He just disguised them. It's just wild to me how a single line can totally flip what you think is going on in a song. Number 49. I can still hear the sounds of those Methodist bells. I'd taken the cure and had just gotten through. Staying up for days in the Chelsea Hotel, writing Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands for you. This is a beautiful lyric from the song Sarah, off the album Desire. Probably my favorite Bob Dylan album. It's got a lot of good songs on it. This is one of the few times that Bob Dylan references an actual song in the lyrics of a different song. So this is a song about a woman named Sarah. I don't know anything about Bob Dylan's personal life, unfortunately. He was probably with someone named Sarah at the time. Just a wild guess. But he says he wrote Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands for her, which is one of his most popular songs. It's kind of incredible. And he's really breaking the fourth wall, which is something Dylan doesn't usually do. A lot of the times his songs are written from the perspective of specific characters or characters he's made to be facetious, like the lead voice in Talkin' John Birch Paranoid Blues. He doesn't actually believe the communists are coming to kill everybody. He's being facetious. He's creating a character who believes the communists are coming to kill all of us so that he can show how ridiculous that character is. This is about him. He just puts it out there in writing. Yeah, this is about me. I did this for you. It's kind of crazy. Number 48. With all memory and fate driven deep beneath the waves, let me forget about today until tomorrow. We had to get to Mr. Tambourine Man at some point on this list, and here we are. This song is famously about Bob Dylan's drug dealer. I'm not gonna have any hope of monetizing this video, am I? But he's talking about hiding his memories. All memory and fate driven deep beneath the waves. He wants to put his memories away where he can't access them anymore, which, honestly, drugs are a great way to do that. And he says, let me forget about today until tomorrow, until I wake up, until the buzz has worn off, then I'll deal with it. Or I won't. I'll just call the Tambourine Man again, and we'll just do this cycle all over again. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Number 47. Well, I finally started thinking straight when I ran out of things to investigate. I couldn't imagine nothing else, so now I'm at home, investigating myself. Hope I don't find out anything. That's another one from John Birch Paranoid Blues. Man, it's a good song. Again, about McCarthyism and communism and America's absolute disdain and fear, terror of communism of all things. But the lyric itself is about running out of things to look at. He's trying to find communism everywhere. He's saying that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Maybe he's a communist. Maybe he is. Check him out. And eventually he runs out of places to point his finger. And he's only got one place left to point it, at himself. Number 46. I try my best to be just like I am, but everybody wants you to be just like them. There's another one from Maggie's Farm, one of his most famous electric songs. This is a lyric that I definitely relate to. You try your best to be who you are, but people don't really want that. We talked earlier about how the flower can't grow higher than the rest of the garden or lower than it, because if it grows lower than it doesn't get the sunlight it needs, and if it grows higher than it, the gardener's gonna clip it. There's another example of that. You know, take for example standardized testing. Not everybody's good at testing, but you have to be, or you're an idiot, I guess. That's what the US says. It's just sad. Number 45. The empty-handed painter from your streets is drawing crazy patterns on your sheets. That's sex. He's talking about sex. This is from It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Again, one of my favorite songs of Dylan's. And yeah, it's an interesting way. Drawing crazy. He's an empty-handed painter. So he's a painter without a paintbrush. And you're like, oh, well, okay, what's a painter who doesn't have a paintbrush? Well, the crazy patterns he draws are on your sheets. Wowzers. Anyway, I just think that's a creative way to talk about that. Number 44. I lit a cigarette on a parking meter and walked on down the road. It was a normal day. This is from Talkin' World War III Blues, which we've brought up before. Bob Dylan has a dream that World War III has happened and is over, and he lives in a post-apocalyptic United States. And that's one of the first things he does in the song. He lights a cigarette on a parking meter. He's painting a visual, he's painting the scenery. It's set dressing, essentially, for our brains. You see a different set than I do, but what we both see is Bob Dylan lighting his cigarette on a parking meter that's on fire. And we realize that this is something he has done many, many times. Number 43. Forget the dead you've left. They will not follow you. It's a great line. Another one from It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, the title of which follows directly after this line. Forget the dead you've left, they will not follow you, and it's all over now, baby blue. And I love this line. This is something that my mom actually instilled in me when I was young. Not to do anything for the sake of tradition or because you think someone who has passed would want you to do it, or at minimum, not because it has ties to that person. Like, I remember my mom telling me that after she passed, if anything of hers ended up being worth a lot of money, sell it immediately. Just get rid of it. Don't clutter a bunch of stuff because you're sentimental. Just get rid of it. Move on. Figure it out. You have your memories. You still have your love for that person. And as long as you do, they're never truly dead. The stuff doesn't matter. Forget the dead you've left. They will not follow you. You're following them. Time is ticking. We'll get to more lines about that later. Number 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That's not the lyric. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded with hatred. This is from A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, which is a fantastic song. It's like only 4 verses long, but each verse is like 3 minutes or some shit. It's really good. It's one of his most popular songs, and I've never understood how he can play it live. It's so insane. But this line specifically is pretty poignant. I have met many people. I fall into this category. Wounded in love, wounded with hate. I mean, who hasn't been, you know? Love is a dangerous tool as much as hate is. It can be used to help people, and it can be used to hurt people. I was going to say the same thing with hate, but I don't think hate can be used to help people. Maybe it can. I don't know. So yeah, this has been part 3 of the 101 best Bob Dylan lyrics of all time. Consider checking out our podcast, The Media Lunch Break, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here and check out some of our videos. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.